my dad, he was the owner of the Shell gas station in Massachusetts. He was giving me some feedback and saying, hey, Gianna, you invested in your education. You got to use that education so that, you can also not master what you're doing, but learn every single day and get more opportunities every day to kind of see how to represent yourself. Hey, I have a client that does baking, and I have another client that needs a vendor opportunity for somebody. Oh, look, I can mesh them together and they both will do well. That's an example. So my name is Gianna Pickard, and I am the founder of Gianna Rose Public Relations, which is a public relations freelancing service aimed to help business learn and grow and be seen.
Diversified Game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys know these are some of my favorite conversations to have because it's with other PR artists, public relations professionals. Miss Gianna's going to give us the game on how she got into PR. Also, she let me know that her family was into business, which always helps because as a publicist, guess what? You might already have your first client inside your family with a business that's already established. We'll see if that's true or not. Miss Gianna, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, Callan. I'm good. How are you doing today?
Always blessed by the best. Let's get right into it. You talked about the family business. You do PR. Where do you want to start so we can see how this journey, how it was created?
Well, I attended Palm Beach Atlantic University in Palm Beach, Florida. And there I was able to obtain my bachelor's in public relations with a concentration on strategic communications and image management. But that piece of paper is great, but it's the experience that really makes you learn the hustle and learn the grind and get really in the nitty-gritty of it all. So yeah, I started there, and right from college, I started working in a corporate setting, a corporate public relations agency. Lots of intelligent people there. I learned a lot. I learned later that corporate was not for me. So that is when I went survival mode and I started my own freelancing business.
Now, you have to go deeper because so many people, we go to school, they tell us all the great things about going to school, and then they say, hey, go to grad school even, and your options will even be greater, and then you can go get that first or second job, and corporate is not for me. I'm like, tira la puerta, I'm out of here. I don't want any part of what's going on here at all. Why, for you, did you find out corporate wasn't for you?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I enjoyed the fast-pacedness. I enjoyed that. The firm I was working with at the time was a smaller firm. I was the youngest on the team, so that was kind of it was a learning experience, being seen and heard just as effectively as the people who have been there for years. And I was working hour to hour because I was, right out of school, and they gave me a 3-month probation period. A lot of corporate agencies do that. But I ended up being there for almost a year, so it worked out. But the finances were very hard for me. I had to pay student loans. I had to pay my bills at the time. And I was 100% on my own. So I had requested, I need to, is it okay that I get some supplemental income? And I was granted that permission. And I had made a portfolio for myself because everybody around me, my dad, he was the owner of the Shell gas station in Massachusetts. He was giving me some feedback and saying, hey, Gianna, you invested in your education. You got to use that education so that, you can also not master what you're doing, but learn every single day and get more opportunities every day to kind of see how to represent yourself. How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to, be referred to? You're a helper. You like to help. It was a little tough because, when I made that online portfolio, I was put under the assumption that I was starting my own company then and there. And that's not at all what was happening. I was just trying to create an online portfolio, the about me page, what I'm good at. I don't know. I was 22, 22. And yeah, so from there, I shook my hands off and I said, well, this isn't for me. I am not that person you are saying that I am. And I thank you all for the blessings. And I spent 3, 4 months not working in any setting, just survival mode. Writing obituaries, writing press releases for people. My brother Julian, he has an HVAC company in Massachusetts, and he was kind of like my first real client. And then connected with a great editor. I got a feature as the cover story in a neighborhood magazine. God-given gift, all glory to God, that just fell into my lap. And I use that to spread the word of God and the word of what I'm doing and to encourage people not to give up. We're so stuck in this must work 9 to 5, must work, 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 work. Are you happy? Are you reaching your full potential? Are you helping others the way that you would like to help others? Or is somebody, telling you what to do and how to do it? Which is great. Positive criticism is amazing, but you know what I'm saying.
I definitely do. Well, I rarely do not let somebody mention Massachusetts without saying what city, because my wife and I about 19 years ago got married in Springfield, Mass, and I just loved it. It has a special place in my heart. All of Massachusetts, from the 413 down to Worcester and Boston. So what part of Massachusetts? Shout out to y'all.
Worcester County. Worcester
What's
County.
what's the guy?
Yep. A small town called Upton.
Gotcha. I worked with youth a lot in Mass, and so we would sometimes, like, they were coming out of jail sometimes, or coming out of group home settings or drug facilitation places. So sometimes you had to drive clothes or people somewhere, and I loved it because I got to see everything that I thought. But there's a lot to Massachusetts. And I just want to make it clear. I'm glad that you said, the spreading the word of God part, because when you talk about your father and having a business in Massachusetts, you mentioned that, and people think, oh, it must be the mob. If it's an American owning a gas station, it has to be the mob. Now, if it's an immigrant owning it, it's just, oh, okay, the immigrants. But talk about, your dad owning a gas station. Did you ever get to serve in that gas station? And did you ever, get to learn that business? And can you tell people about that business a little?
Of course. So it didn't just start with my dad. It actually started with my dad's dad. So my grandfather, we called him Grampy. I never got to meet him really. I met him as a little baby and then he passed shortly after. I think I was like 3, 4 months old. But he was the owner of the Shell gas station in Westboro, Massachusetts, right on Route 9. And he was a mechanic, he was a businessman, he was a loved father, he was like just the best ever I've heard, and I've seen videos. And when he passed the baton onto my father. My father had to take over the business, so we called it Pickard Shell. And I can recall, actually, it's funny you asked if, I was involved. I can recall many moments where I would help check out people. Like I would help like cigarettes, okay, and I was 8 years old. But back then it wasn't really like the way it is today, but it's very interesting to see my dad like as a hustler, you know, like when growing up, he was always fixing something, whether he was in the gas station or out of it. He was fixing one of my brother's cars. My whole family worked in the atmosphere with him, along my mom, my two brothers, Michael, Julian. They helped my dad in the back, and also, you know, just around doing different duties. And my mom actually homeschooled me and four other siblings while running that business. And we would just like hide out in the back office, in the back of the mechanic room, and do our schoolwork. And then lunch break, we'd go and, you know, cover mom's shift. But it was a family effort. It was a team effort. It taught us discipline. It taught us, you know, how to, you know, make a living to feed our mouths, literally. But there was no pressure on us. It was always my dad. Like, my dad was a hero. He always had everything put together the way that it needed to be. And yeah, great guy.
Hello everyone. Come along with London and Sydney as they show you around the vibrant country of Cameroon. We explore the heart of Africa through the eyes of London and Sydney. Two explorers who journey across the great city of Yaoundé, exploring its rich culture, vibrant market squares, cultural heritage, and wildlife. With giggles and excitement, London and Sydney Explore Cameroon takes you on a fun-filled adventure, providing insight into the country's culture and traditions through the pages of this book. It's packed with exciting stories and super cool facts about Cameroon that will make you go, wow. Get your copy now, available on Amazon and in libraries near you. There's only one easy way to experience the exploration of Cameroon, and it's through London and Sydney. Don't wait, get yours.
I love that. And let's be a lesson to the audience that get your kids involved in your business. These are the memories they will have. I have similar ones with my grandmother's businesses, my uncles and other family members who had business. And I just know, like, yes, I want to have my own. I want to be, you know, it doesn't have to be the easiest thing, but it will be worth it because, too, I homeschool. My kids are right over here, and my wife is working from home in the office, and it's a beautiful thing. Now, doing public relations, because again, Massachusetts has its own, you know, people have stereotypes. When I'm in Mexico, people have stereotypes. I don't do any cartel business. I don't know what that is. Y'all say. But when you think about public relations, people say, oh, you're around the stars all day and you're traveling on private planes. And you're like, well, I try to fly. You know, I have a few flight hours, you know, but I'm not doing that like you see on TV. This is not your favorite TV show, and it doesn't turn off. There are no like cutoff hours for PR. Literally, someone can call you at any time if you're great at what you do, and you try to, you know, accommodate. Talk about the journey of PR, because it's not always the most profitable either for the majority of people, as you had, you know, mentioned. Talk about that journey to kind of help people if this is right for them.
Okay. Well, it all comes down to the heart. That's what I've always said. And then later 120% believed it, because, you know, we grow up being told one thing and we believe it, but we don't really let it sink in until we experience it. So I have always just had a heart for, you know, serving the community. If you have a heart for the community and helping others and want, like, getting a dopamine rush of seeing other people do well, this field is for you. And it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're just playing a role in society as your due diligence as a citizen, as I'd like to say it. But, you know, it's not a perfect world. There are particular people for particular things, and God made us that way. And it's more like a relationship. Public relations is all about creating and instilling mutually beneficial relationships. That is the heart of it all, is mutually beneficial. Hey, I have a client that does baking, and I have another client that needs, you know, a vendor opportunity for somebody. Oh, look, I can mesh them together and they both will do well. That's an example. You know, it's the like a puzzle. It's like you're always assembling puzzle pieces.
And it never stops. Team member of mine, she told me many moons ago, she was like, you aren't even just doing the PR, you are consulting, and it's how I got into even doing the business management for various people and companies. Because she was like, you're doing more than that. And what you just mentioned of combining people, have you found yourself, also you're doing it, but also getting compensated, and people are getting to know you for being a fixer, the Olivia Pope, is what everybody always likes to say.
Yeah. I mean, part of public relations is crisis management. That is a core course that I have taken in my academic schooling and really applied it with, last minute things that are out of control. Somebody could have an event and say, yep, it's going to go just this way. And then the spokesperson doesn't make it or something. And then we're like, okay, well, improv, and then I'll get up there. It's like we're here to have your back and fix anywhere we need to fix. But sometimes things don't even like if they can't be fixed, you can always, there's a way around it to heal it, at least for the meantime.
And you talk about the schooling, I did my master's in communication because a professor saw me writing in the college newspaper in Louisiana and even the other newspapers. And he said, hey, you ever thought about doing your master's? I said, yeah, because my mother said, don't come home without one. And so, he let me know what was available and the different monies that were available if you do this on your GRE. Your journey, did you always know that you wanted to do the PR? And do you think that someone right now needs a degree in public relations to do it?
Okay. So to answer your first question, that would, can you repeat the first question?
Oh, the first question, when you knew you wanted to do public relations, was it when you were in the gas station working with your father, or was it, during college years?
Sure thing. Okay. So actually, no, I had no idea that public relations was even a thing until my junior year of high school. I was hell-bent on being a missionary. Like I wanted to be, like sharing the gospel. I completely left this out, but in high school, I went to a vocational technical high school, got my degree in dental assisting. So I had gone to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic my sophomore year, and I had donated toothbrushes and I had a translator and I taught all of the kids and their families in Santo Domingo how to brush their teeth and proper oral hygiene. After that trip, I wanted to do that every year, every day, every time. And I mean, I still do volunteer and where I can now, but my parents hit me with the cold hard truth. And it was like, you can't go off on your own and support yourself while doing this, like they taught me how to do, you know, letters to raise funds for these trips. And I mean, and that was a gift from God. I mean, those experiences is what taught me that I want to help people. Like that was the core thing, helping. That was the core thing. And then when I came to my junior year, and my dad was like, all right, well, let's start looking at colleges. And I did, and I did. I go, well, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like crime scene investigation? I watch CSI, like you don't like really think of these things until you're put on the spot. And then my father, my dear sweet father, God love him, he's the one who suggested public relations. And I go, what is it, Dad? Like, tell me what it is. And he said, it's literally like helping people relate and relating to the public. And you're good at that. You like helping. And I'm just like, you are so right. Let me look into it. And I did, and really never looked back after that. Yeah. And what was the second?
Okay. And the second question was, do you think that people need a degree do public relations, because there's a lot of people who say we're hiring people and we'll train them to be the public relations professional we want them to be. And, that we're looking for, psych majors, or we're looking for, tech people. What is, your opinion on that? Should people go get a degree in public relations, mass communications, or should they, get their degree and then figure that part out later?
So, yeah, good question. I think it just depends on the person. I think that education helps, but if you're in a position where you're, financially not able to or physically not able to, don't let that stop you. All of everything we need is at our fingertips, We can YouTube stuff. We can, look at other, accredited programs to learn more about the field, and even communications. If you have something communications related, a degree, experience, or even just you're an effective communicator, that is one of the backbones of PRs, knowing how to communicate. It's a difficult field. It requires a lot of persistence. There's a lot of deadlines, and we are all human at the end of the day, and things, get ahead of us or behind us, and we have each other to, back us up and say, hey, just nudging on this, is this still possible? A lot of people, at first, I'm a prime example. When I first started out in PR, that was hard for me. I felt like I was bothering people. Like I was like, oh, there's this great news, like I'm sending this out. And I felt shy with following up, but then I had to realize, oh, I need to do this. And they did tell me in school, but why is it so hard for me to do it now when I feel this way? So yeah, education doesn't hurt. I wouldn't say like it's the be all end all do or die work in public relations this way only. I wouldn't say that, to answer your
And
question.
and and I even want to go deeper, because somebody right now is going in debt to get that degree. And you talked about the dental hygienist, and that's more of a guarantee to find a job. Everyone in my graduate class, except one person who's in the military at a very high level, nobody is doing public relations that I know. We had a small class, and I'm like, it's not because they were bad, but it was because there weren't a lot of opportunities out there, or not opportunities they could afford to live. That's what I want to speak to, because I tell people, go do it in nursing. Nursing is guaranteed. We can teach you how to be a public relations professional over here, but I wouldn't go into debt. That's for the rich, the wealthy.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of experience. Like I learned more than ever by just doing it, sitting down, watching, doing it, making those little mistakes in the beginning and learning, okay, this is how to avoid that in the future. It's so different when you're reading textbooks and answering questions and you know all of the book smarts of everything, and then you get into a corporate office on your first day and you're like, okay, so I know how to write a press release. And it's like, okay, well, there's more than press releases, remember? And I'm like, oh yeah, you can do campaigns. We can look out for this. So it's almost like an overwhelming burst of thoughts go through your head. And you're like, there's so much opportunity for this one person. Let me just dump it all on paper and add to it as I go. And like, honestly, it does the trick, because you can't be forgetful. You can't, it's hard. Well, you can, but you just won't do the job right if you forget things, or if you don't care. Caring is a lot of it. It's like you have to really truly care about this person and their mission and their values, and go. But, to touch on again, the financial portions is like, it's the experience. That you could shoot emails to different, PR boutiques or communications places, or even sometimes, small businesses that need help with social media. That's like, we call them the low-hanging fruit. That is one thing that a lot of people will, not really take 1000% seriously is like the content plan. There's a person for that, and you can be that person if you're good at taking pictures, if you're good at editing, if you're good at, all of the above. You can be that person to step in and say, hey, like, I don't have a degree, but I'm learning and I am an entrepreneur. I'm an arising entrepreneur, and I would love this opportunity to help you grow so that I can help and also learn in the process. That's free. That's just the only thing you're costing is maybe, your ego, because rejection is inevitable. 50-50 chance, but it's just knowing, where you're coming from, where you're aligned with, and people see that, it's energy is real, and I'm a firm believer in that.
Amen. And it wasn't until after grad school I even knew what a unit publicist was. One of my friends was that. I'm like, well, what? You do what for the movies? And then, you learn that I'm in a government contract right now that is all about PR. And I'm like, if people knew, and this isn't the Burn Your Leisure podcast where we tell people, oh, government contracting will make you rich overnight, but it is a nice, resume to put on the capability statement. And to me, PR is, you've done it so long. I tell myself, Kellen, it's not rocket science, but there's always something new to learn, because technology is really where we stand out. We've been using AI for about 7-8 years now. And I've been buying my friends code, to people say, you're cheating. And I say, no, we're creating. We're creating, and now you're cheating because it's, you're an end user, and now you understand what the developers and different people are doing. So there's so much. But GP, that's what I'm gonna call you now, with using your original initials. God's property, Kurt Franklin. I want to make sure I give credit, so I don't try to say, hey, you're stealing. But GP, that's your nickname for me. What is your community give back that you're doing or that you would like to do? You mentioned one already, teaching people how to brush their teeth in the DR, and that could be something global. I mean, that could be a business of its own for you. But what is one that you're doing or you'd like to do in the future?
Honestly, every single day in my own backyard or on the street I drive down every day, a lot of people think that you have to go somewhere, you have to do something big and elaborate to help serve the community around you. But all it takes is literally a smile to let someone know, hey, I care. With the ramp up of all the work, that is how I've been, helping in my community. I've been a listening ear to talk to homeless people. I did some volunteer work with the GIVEBACK community. I'm working right now. I'm hired as an independent contractor aside from GRPR with my lovely friend Julie Kana. She's the owner and founder of Kana House Studios and Kana Connections. I've learned so much from her too over the years. And I mean, it is just great because she works with nonprofits too. And I help, with that as well, shedding light on nonprofits, on nonprofit missions, leaders, along with, her clients. And it's great that we can all work together to help serve a greater purpose.
That is beautiful. It's people like you. The world would be a different place if you would add to that, running for office, getting honest people who actually care, that would actually make the change that we need. Is that ever something that's crossed your mind?
Oh yeah, Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. I had a mug like that, and then I broke it, but it's great. I firmly believe in that because a little goes a long way. It's not always the big elaborate things that will make a mark. It could be like one human is worth so much in the eyes of God. And I feel like for us other humans, we're fallen creatures, fallen from sin. And I just think that, with more understanding and more empathy, there can be more understanding. And then we'll know how to better help you spread the word on what you want to spread the word on, help, feed children, help, um, oral hygiene, really anything. I mean, God has used me like in so many ways. I don't even, it's all like kind of a blur, but I remember it all. It's like, you know, just doing GRPR and me wanting to be a missionary and all of these things, I almost went to Belize to work chairside and I just couldn't because I had no money. Like I literally had no money at the time. And I survival mode, I'll do anything, for PR, social media, I'll help. That ended up not even being enough at the time because I still had to invest in my business to offer my clients more. And I then used my dental knowledge to work in oh geez, in Boca, cosmetic dental office, Alman and Katz Dentistry. What amazing people. They were kind of and up in arms. They were starting a new business. They didn't really have like a, you know, office manager. I wasn't an office manager, but I had office knowledge. So I worked with that team a lot and they were very involved with the Rotary Club, Boca Rotary Club. And they would always attend there. I know the Rotary clubs, they're great at giving back too, and they're also good at, you know, informing and involvement. So yeah.
Okay, and she didn't say she wouldn't run, but we won't put any pressure in case we, see an open seat somewhere and we send it to her and say, think about it. But funding is a big thing. And with people who really want to make change, I mean, there's so many good people in the world. I know, sometimes depending on what you're watching online, you might not see all the good. But does it ever frustrate you that if not for finances, the business could grow bigger, or we could do more things because we're in Palm Beach. There's plenty of money. There's plenty of money wasted, on things, paintings. Alan Weiss talks about, and he did an interview. He's like, they spend more money on their paintings and their bushes than they spend sometimes on their people. And it's like, whoa. Is it ever frustrating, or do you ever see a way of, what the big companies have done that the smaller companies, the boutique companies can do righteously without, selling our soul and just saying, we'll do anything. Have you seen anything work for anybody where you're like, wow, all you need is one great big client?
Um, Honestly, I think time is money too. That's something I do want to mention. You could be a big giant firm with tons of money, and if you don't invest the proper time or attention that these clients deserve, that could bite you in the behind, and it could bite them in the behind, and that's not fair. So, and as far as, a boutique goes, I feel like and I could be completely wrong, but I mean, my dad was like an owner of a gas station, which is like not big, but I mean, I think it is similar. The point of views is like when you don't have a lot of money, all you have is time to make money, to invest in your business, to create ways that maybe don't even cost anything to, revamp your website or revamp your brand image or whatever it is that you want to do. It's at your fingertips and it takes putting your head down and with all of the negative thoughts that you will have of doubting yourself, doubting your work, doubting your value, that's the enemy. So, I mean, that will just fuel you if you have the right mindset. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Any plans, since you are connected to a podcast studio right there in Wellington, Florida, just down the street from you? We used to live in Wellington. Love and shout out Wellington as well. Any plans to do your own podcast or even your own book?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm sure. I'm sure down the road God will guide me to make decisions like that. I'm still praying. I don't want to make any move before I talk to God about it.
That is a great, perfect answer. Like, let you, those who are listening, and this is media training, where if you say, oh, I could use that almost for anything, because you don't always have to answer people's questions and say, oh, yes, I plan on launching something next week, right? And then
Yeah.
if you do, it's not right or it's not God's perfect timing, is what I always tell people. That's
Mhm.
what we try to base ourselves. And I'm so flawed, but I try, and I'm just going to keep trying and keep trying. Let the people know where they can find your services. I'm going to have your website below, but where they can find your services, and also any other ways they can help you, or a cause that you have, how they can help you with that, and maybe going to Belize and Dominican Republic and all over with the dental, doing the PR for it, and getting handsomely paid, not just for you and your staff, in Jesus Christ's name. Any places, anything you want to leave the audience with?
You can find me at www.giannarosepr.com or my Instagram, Gianna Rose PR. Um, and uh, yeah. Yeah, that's where you can find me. That's where you can find me. And if I could, one word, call to action, encouragement is just don't get frustrated when things around you put you down. And help as much as you can, because sometimes helping other people will make you feel better, believe it or not.
Awesome. Awesome. We love it. And you guys, you know where you can find us, whether you are, I know the majority of you are listening, but go over to the YouTube, put a voice with a face. And also today, you can see me bring back the crisscross days of wearing something backwards and inside out with my shirt. And, you can laugh at me and send me, hey, I saw that. Yeah, I saw it too. It was intentional. And that's what we try to do. We try to be, like Dave Ramsey says, intentional in everything that we do. So you guys make sure you like this game, comment, but most importantly, share this with someone. It will change their life. Be blessed.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.